Hello, welcome back to City Planner Plays, where we are building Port Concord as part of the 5 Builders 1 City collaboration. And it's been a long time since I was mayor last. In fact, thanks to Robin Ottens, my favorite posts throughout this entire series have been the posts explaining what has gone on and how long it took. And seeing that it's been 21 years since I was last mayor is really kind of crazy. And a lot's changed. We had the Tim Meister build this wonderful nature reserve that I impeded and encroached upon. Whoops. We had Jedi build this wonderful mall and suburban area over here. We had Lee build this wonderful interchange, work on some traffic, some traffic lights, Biffa with a whole city traffic fix. We had Zardis with his factory over here and his suburban sprawl. And we had Egg's wonderful build over here. I love this. His pit mine and his little mining town. And the city is really grown quite a bit. I also love the work that Zardis did over here, getting it in this lovely retaining wall. It's great. I never think to do things like that, so I'm always impressed. So today I want to build this little triangle of downtown. We want to expand the downtown and take the lid off the density down here. And I'm really happy that the other builders took me up on getting rid of all of this crazy density that was out here for no reason and made the city look a little bit more, I guess, mid-sized townish, which is what it is. So today we're going to transform into a big city, but I want to fix a couple of things, and I'm going to show you an issue that I'm having right now. So I want to level up and build this next part of the town over here because I can't buy a tile. So we need to add approximately 1,500 to the population to make that occur. So we're going to do a couple of things. First of all, I want to expand this Port Concord waterfront because that is going to be our downtown district. And so what I'm going to do is pull this district. I think I want to go past Main Street a block, pull this in, and then we're going to wrap this around straight over here because we're going to reach all the way down there, right here. We'll even take this road. And eventually, this is going to extend down this road straight to here. So once we buy that tile, we will fix the rest of this. What I want to do though is change the default style to Modern City Center because I love the way that looks, and I want to take the lid off high rises. So we're going to remove the ban here. We're going to give tax relief to high density everything, and we're going to watch this place just boom. I could also implement high-rise or high-tech housing, which I think I'm going to do because that will really raise the value in this area. And as we're thinking about this, we have a little bit of old industrial down here. That's got to go. That's not going to work anymore. It's not viable down here. The land is too valuable. It's time to improve. Now, I know that this fish factory is going to have some pollution. So as much as I want to have a bunch of residential, even though it's our lowest need, I'm going to add a little bit of office around there, and I'm going to fill in this corner here with office as well. Everything else, or mostly everything else, I'm going to fill in with housing. And that's not very much. So, I will take some of this lower density stuff away though. And I did mix the uses very well, so I'm sad to change it up, but I think it's a good change. So we're going to have some commercial down here. I want to have some mix of uses and just kind of a narrow strip of buildings. And so from here, I want this area to feel different. So let's take a look back at our districts. So this road right here is really the dividing line. I should clean this up. Everyone's done such a great job with their districts, making them look nice. And here I go in here like a bull in a china shop, just fixing everything. All right, that's better. I'm seeing that it's getting dark. Let's stop that. There we go. So, bull in a china shop, done. for now. Let's go through though. The reason I wanted to look at this is I want special streets for this area. So we are going to delineate this area with our roadway network, make it feel different. I've got to be very careful here because there are already important streets through here. I'm going to change this bike connection. I think it's in the wrong spot. I'd love to bring it up here and along the waterfront. So we'll make some key connections in the future, but for the time being, that'll do the trick. Okay, so I think we've gotten rid of all of those industrial roads, which makes me very happy. Now, the next thing I want to do is think about the downtown, and I think we need more density down here. We've got pockets of low density, so I think I might use Douglas as kind of our delineating line for where the high density begins. So in reality, if the city were to change the zoning, they'd probably go through a comprehensive planning process. They'd have a comprehensive plan amendment, and then they would change their zoning code to reflect their plan. And that change would ensure that basically the zoning, the purpose of zoning is to implement the comprehensive plan. So that change would be made, and it would probably look the same for quite some time until a developer were able to consolidate enough land to complete their project. Unless it were Houston, in which case I think you might just see some crazy random skyscrapers without zoning changes because there's no zoning. But in our case, it's going to just remove all the buildings and we're going to start fresh. And that's fine too. That's fine too. So I said I wanted to make a change, and that change is over here. Someone took the T out of TOD and knocked down my connection to this TOD, and now it's just a sad cul-de-sac without any access to the nearby public transportation. So we need to make an improvement here while we're waiting for our zoning to improve and our population to go up. Might as well take it and use it as an opportunity. So what we're going to do is build this across here, lower this down along here, and have our connection once again. I'm going to do some landscaping around here, but there's a couple of other things I noticed. First, we have this area where we used to have a power plant, a solar updraft tower, and there's no longer a tower there. I think that this is a place where it would make some sense to add in additional residential zoning. So one of the reasons why is we have an opportunity to connect this to this bike network and have a direct connection to the TOD. So I think this would be another, or to the rail station rather. So we could have another really nice little neighborhood back here if we tried. So that's precisely what we're going to do. The other thing I'm noticing is we have this park here, Cheese Park, which it costs $34 to go through and makes a ton of money. So I want to fix this. I noticed that the fence is gone here, and we need to get that fixed. So I'm going to go ahead and extend this park out to the line over here. I'm going to actually go beyond that just a little bit. It's a city park, so I want to go and add a city park gate, but I'm going to do something a little cheesy. So we'll add this here. We're going to use move it, pull it back here, and then I want to grab a fence, make our connection. And you can tell it's just a little bit off skew. So let's straighten that up, pull our road, the park gate. Now we're good to go. Now we are good to go, except for the path connection. We need to do that. So we're going to add our path connection. We probably should clean the debris off the trail. I hope that I've made you proud, Egg. I know that this is not the plan that you had for this area, but things change over time. And that's actually something I've been wanting to talk about. So I've looked at the comments in some of the other builders videos and in my own even as well, especially as I was letting the city burn while I was adding bike lanes gleefully. That certainly I saw comments that, you know, we builders weren't respecting other people's builds, and I agree, we weren't. That said, I also don't think it's a problem, and I'm going to tell you why. In reality, there are many builders of a city. Every developer is a builder of the city, and those builders often have different ideas for the community. And then the city planning office has their own idea as well, and every single constituent in the city has their own idea. And ultimately, over time, plans change. And as a result of this, you end up with a more, honestly, organic development pattern. So while I agree it's disappointing at times to not see someone's build come to fruition, have things turn out a little differently than normal, to me, it makes a lot of sense, because I think that is reality. We don't always get the perfectly cohesive city that we would prefer to have because a developer comes in and mucks everything up. And that's what we are. We all are developers developing our own idea for this community, one build at a time. And but we should respect the other builders to enough. This path right here that I just added. So full disclosure, I was recording and I forgot to unpause. So I've built much of this build already before. So that's why it kind of seems like I have an agenda, because I do. But I noticed that this path wasn't connected, and it was clear to me that someone disconnected it during a build. It might have even been me, and I put some time into this area, and we broke it. So that's the sort of thing that I guess I would like to be better about, and I would hope that the rest of us get a little bit better about too, in collaborations, is making sure that when we have little things like that, little things that make a big difference, we spend the time on the details, because they make a big difference. So I'm gonna go through and add some landscaping and try to hide this rail facility. Get off my soapbox for a second and do my best. So I'm adding in pine trees since they wouldn't drop a bunch of leaves in the tracks. I know I've been yelled at about that. That's one of the things that I've not been very cognizant of or thoughtful about. Here I go. That will drop some leaves. Should be adding short pines, but so basically there's a lot of really rough stuff over here that wouldn't be fun to be next to. So I want to really make this field densely forested to protect from some of what would be pretty noxious over here. Not a super fun place to be. But you can landscape and protect some of that. And adding this landscaping would make this not just a better place to live, but also a pretty desirable place. I think anyone in a tower would be happy to live next to high quality transit, and also in a well landscaped area. When you look out your window, if you're on the main floor, it looks like you're in a forest. Beautiful. And there were some issues with health over here, and now those seem to be gone. I do want to speed this up. We need things to improve. We need more population. So one of the reasons we're not going to get this population right now is we have issues with our water system. So I want to bolster the water system a bit. We're going to use some eminent domain and relocate this crematorium. It was in a funky spot, and I think we have an opportunity over here where we need to beef up our sewage treatment. I'd love to just put in a large sewer treatment facility, but we don't have the space. There aren't many attractive uses out here. So I kind of want to look at the drain capacity. So right here, we're looking at 60. Over here, we're looking at 120. So I could probably just get away with 2 of these over here, and I'd have enough capacity to do what I'm hoping to do. Didn't like me putting it there, so I'm going to cheat and use move it. I know these will fit. So even though Cities doesn't like it, I do. And I'm the mayor. So we're going to make it happen. It fits. It's ugly, but it fits. There's some tearing here though. That I don't love. And I'm making that worse. So I'm just gonna stop. I'm gonna let good be good enough and stop making perfect the enemy of good, because that is what I'm doing. You can only, well, you can kind of see it everywhere. Shoot. Yeah, there's not a great way to fix this. So I could lower this a bit. Obviously, this is the height of realism. But I really want this to look at least somewhat nice. And the road seemed like it was kind of just up there for no reason. I'm just gonna step away. And there's a very specific reason why I wanted this built. First of all, we need capacity. Second of all, we have this water treatment facility here, and I don't want it here anymore. This is old. It can go. It's in a bad location. We don't want that downtown. This is way too valuable of land to allow this to happen. This is also pretty sad. You got this crematorium with a bus stop in front of it. I'm sure this is a lovely place to hang out. Everyone wants to hang out. Never noticed there's a billboard on the front, like they have job postings. You know, just what everyone's hoping for. All right, well, you know, I guess if you want to work there, I know a couple people who went into that career path, and they seem to really appreciate their job. So good for them. I think it's a needed field. It's just I wouldn't expect to see the job postings on the front door like that. All right, so we need commercial and industrial, and before I was so rudely interrupted by my paused recording, I was building a lovely little commercial area over here because it makes a lot of sense. But we need to respect our topography. So I'm going to build up this elevation line here. We're going to extend out a cul-de-sac. So I think I want to get this as close to 90 as I can. And then try to mirror this somewhat. So I'm trying to measure to get the maximum density I can here. So now I have it. We can get rid of these side streets. So I can extend the commercial up now here, and I think it's going to be a good addition to this area. I hate the idea of using one zoning classification here, but I do think it works. I want to add a path connection here, though. This seems like it would be a missed opportunity if I didn't. There we go. I just wanted to really clean that up and make it as clean and straight as I could. So we're going to bring this neighborhood through here and make sure that we have zoning all the way through. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. So let's turn this back on. We'll need to get some water pipes here. There we go. Underneath the road where they belong. Perfect. So I want to... Oh, I've got some funky zoning stuff going on here. Let's get some of that cleaned up. In fact, I kind of want to fix this even. It's not going to help us on our quest to increase the population, but I'm going to go for it. Kind of want a 4x4 building here. So I'm okay demolishing that. Here too, I want a 3x2. So we're going to force the issue. Perfect. Oh, it looks like I missed just a little bit of bike facility here. It's the details. It's the little things. And speaking of little things, one of the little things I don't like happening here now is we have one-ways. But they're not everywhere. And this is a special one-way again, which will make this extra fun to find. Okay, so I've changed the pattern there a bit. I wanted to get one-ways. It's not the same one that was here. I am probably going to add picker, because that's one of the things that I like to have in my builds. I don't have it here. We've all been taking a couple of liberties, adding in mods here or there, and that is the one that I want. I really am struggling to find the assets that I want. So interestingly, we're having some issues with fish now. Not enough fish. Probably just a temporary thing. We're almost to our 44,000. I am so ready to be there. So ready to be there. You can see the density in the downtown, and it's looking and feeling good. Love it. Love it. And I really like these modern city center buildings. Really fill up the whole block. Bring the road, bring the buildings right to the street. Feels amazing. You get these corridors that just feel vibrant. That's what we're looking for. There we go. We are in Metropolis, 44,000. We've unlocked a bunch of things, but I only care about one, this. So let's go back and take a look. We get airport, and we also get a cargo airport. So maybe I'll think about those a little bit later down the build. We can slow down now. I can take a beat and be happy we've unlocked this. So let's go back to our road. And what I want to do is mirror this roadway network. We're going to change the direction of the grid. And to do that, I'm going to do something I know bugs some people. I love using the freeform tool. It is my favorite tool in the game. Could not do it without it. And I'm going to keep using it forever because it is awesome. But it does have its limitations, and this is one of them. So I like to take a look. We'll see where this lines up right there. There we go. That's just kind of a tough street to keep straight, which happens. So I'm just going to build down in an effort to extend the downtown. Then we'll need to go through our street names, make sure that they make sense. I'm going to reorient the grid over here. Kind of giving that a little bit more thought. As I go through here, I realize how disrespectful I am being of the landscaping and not factoring that in at all in my decision making. And I need to be a little better about that, because that would certainly be something that a lot of people would care about, preserving, what is existing landscaping, natural environment. That's pretty close. It's not perfect, but I think it's good enough. And sometimes good enough is what we're going for. So we're going to have some unique choices to make here. And part of the reason for that is because of this existing transit hub. So this would not move. I think that the city would desperately like to see it move. Why would the transit utility ever give up any of this? They have a consolidated campus downtown, close to all their facilities. That's there forever. Doesn't matter how the city feels about it. So we're just going to have to deal. So really this line is the straight line that we have to line up with. So I'm going to draw that right there, and we'll use that to form the rest of our grid. So there is a curve to this, and I'm probably going to need to get creative to make it make sense. So there we go there, and now I think that we just need to fill the rest of this in, and this will be what we use. I don't love the way this turned out, which is one of those things that you sometimes deal with. I think it's a little bit too curvy, so we're going to call a mulligan and call those planning roads. The character there was getting a little suburban for my likings, so I wanted to make sure that it certainly felt urban. And to me, the way that you do that is that really dense development pattern. I'm going to turn bending off and make a nice straight connection right there. Bend reality. It'll work just fine. We'll do the exact same thing right there. So it doesn't conform perfectly, but it does well enough. And now here, we're going to again, we're going to turn anarchy off. We'll turn our bending back on. We're okay. Just extend some of this out. All right, there we go. So this will be the extent of our downtown. And I want to really do something special with the waterfront. We have this quay wall. We're going to continue that. So I think that is one of the things that in this downtown area would make it a unique place. So we've got this simple seawall, and I want to say that is what we've had along here. No, it's not. I kind of want to use the same asset if I can. That's the one. And one of the nice things about this is we could add in some seating areas. That's actually not going to work at all. So I was thinking, well, maybe I need to stop thinking so much and do a little bit more work on this. So I'd love for there to be some sort of seating, and using these new key walls. Yeah, that's nice. That's actually, yeah, that's what we're gonna use. So I'm gonna pull this out to here. We'll extend this down, and then we'll pull this straight across again. There we go. And you can imagine there being some sort of shows, or maybe it's just a place where you can watch the boats. But it makes it feel like a special place down here. Now, I'd love to upgrade these key walls. For some reason, it's not letting me. Invalid. Can't do it. No way. I'm really nervous about this one. I'm going to give it a go anyway. We'll see what happens. Oh my goodness, I was able to make it work. I thought that was going to break everything, but it didn't. So I get this special place that I was hoping for, and that's lovely. That is truly lovely. Okay, so we've got the area planned for. Maybe this isn't the best design here, but it works. There are certainly some things I'd like to see improved. We need some pedestrian connectivity through here. We're going to turn off all of our snap twos, add this through. Particularly in this area where I'd love to have this space be activated and programmed. On the game, that's difficult to activate and program, but still. We're still going to plan for it. And then I'd love to have a pedestrian connection through here to bring us right into this botanical garden. There we go. That is nice. Now, we've got to find some way to naturally transition into this seawall. Thinking a rock might do the trick. So maybe it's not the most glamorous transition, but it works. Maybe it's a little bit overdone. It's probably a lot overdone. I'm just gonna step away. Step away. All right, so it broke our connection here. We'll just pull that back through, and now we've made it. Looking good. So I think that this area is well planned. Now it's time to get it well zoned. I'm going to take a step back. There's a couple of things I need to fix still. Love to make some pedestrian connections through here. This is the best time to do it. So this would be technically like the platting process when a neighborhood is designed. So this is when you make path connections. You don't do it after a building is there and level things. As much as I love bike facilities and pedestrian paths, there's an appropriate time. It's right now. It's right now. So I am going to extend the bike network through here. We have a connection here that needs to be made. It's going to be kind of a wonky one. Don't love it, but you make do with what you have. And now that's one heck of an impressive bike facility. I like that a lot. So I want to look at transit. And I'm really interested in connecting the subway network over here. We don't really have any good subway connections. Oh, we have it up here. Yeah, it's an interesting setup because it's going some places. That might not even. Oh wait, that's not. Yeah, it's just kind of stopping. So I'd love to get it to connect up over here. I don't know that it's going to be super possible without doing some sort of line where it just comes over here and kind of dead ends. I might actually do that. So I want to plan this up front. We're going to give the botanical gardens a stop. And then every couple of blocks. I don't want to take out a bunch of stuff to make this happen. So we're going to just try to integrate it in. I'm even going to try to connect here. So this goes a long ways. Let's take it back. And we'll loop back around. This is going to be very sharp. You can imagine this would have to take this very slowly. I almost made a horrible mistake there and put this at ground level underground. I've done that. It breaks everything. It's basically the worst. So glad to have caught that before we made that mistake. When I say we, I mean me. That would have been a mistake that I'd have been making. I like to say we when it's nice things, not when it's bad things. 'Cause you don't need to take credit for my shortcomings. That's all me. I'm trying to make these curves as gentle as they can be. This one's the sharpest one. It's going to slow down there, and that's unfortunate, but it is reality, or the reality that we're dealing with. So the other thing I want to do, I'd love to make a connection over here. We have to loop that through Jedi's district, and he has his lovely mall right here. Oh, we're not by the mall. The mall's right here. We might add one more. This area doesn't really warrant it. There's not enough density. But we already have a subway system and we want to make that connection. So we might, well, no, we're just not going to do it. Maybe this will be a project for the future. It doesn't make sense right now. And truthfully, tunneling under here anyway would be a real pain. So that'll be our new line. I am going to name that just so we can keep our eye on it. There we go. It's the egg line and the downtown line. And these are going to have problems until we get it proper services and until we get things zoned in this area, which we're getting to. We're getting close. But right now, water pipes underneath the road where they belong. Okay, and now I want to take a look at our road names and make sure that we have it fixed where we can. So Front Street should come all the way along here. We're going to actually have it loop back here. It'll be kind of a funky setup, but it'll work. And we probably would need some new road names for these streets, but I think we might leave them. They're for the time being anyway. For the time being. So we do have some numbering that we could do and extend out some of these numbers. So actually 19th becomes Brown, and Brown connects over here to Brown and then Earl. So we could certainly have 19th change. I'm going to do that. I'll have it go to here at Front Street, and then it can become Brown Street. To me, that makes some sense. The end of the downtown. So, looking at the land uses that would be most appropriate here. First of all, obviously office, more residential. We want to keep bolstering this. I do want to take a look at our unique buildings and see if there's any that we can work into this area. This is not the way. Actually, you know, we're not going to do that. We're going to develop this first. We're going to fill everything in, and then after that, once this is all filled in, we're going to redevelop. That's the way that this would actually happen, and that's the way that we're going to do it, because that's what I like to do. So I do want to think about the rest of the city services. We are going to be lacking coverage for a number of different facilities. So let's have a nice urban high school back here. Well, the Institute of Creative Arts. We'll just take this whole block and make it a campus for that school. And let's go ahead. We'll add in tennis courts, and I'd love to add in basketball too. We're going to make it happen. Even if there's a little bit of overlap, it'll be okay. And let's add some fences as well. I'm going to delete that little segment of fence and leave an opening here for people to get to the street. And then we'll add a bit of landscaping in here after we turn off all of our anarchies, except for prop anarchy. Actually, we're going to leave that on. Yeah, that's nice. I like that. That is good in my mind. Some fruit trees. Respect the farming heritage of this area. Be a groundskeeper's nightmare. And I think that we're going to also need an elementary school back here. Why don't we go with a European one? And then we will also make sure we have a small park for the children. That is not a small park. That is a large park. We want a large playground. Yeah, we'll have a large playground. That will be helpful in this area. Anyway, beyond that, we know that we should just... Okay. It's a good reminder. Thank you, universe, for reminding me that we need to have fire protection back here. We were kind of lacking in this area generally, so I think that we're going to make sure that we have adequate fire coverage. So I'm going to put that off Underhill Street. We'll do the exact same thing with police coverage. And for our healthcare, I think we're going to have some clinics. Keep it small. That'll do the trick. That will do the trick. I also want to think a little bit about child healthcare. Ooh, this is it. We're lucky that the children are doing okay. I guess this will be a little child facility. We'll have the elder care too. Wow. Okay. Yeah, just me. So we're gonna have the kids all right there, and we'll have the old folks over here, and we'll even give a quick nod to them. We'll relocate that. Eminent domain again. So what I'm thinking is it would be nice to have a path connection through here. Actually, let's take the zoning out. Make this feel like it exists for a reason, and then add some landscaping along the side. While we're over here, I'm wondering how that fish factory's doing. Yeah, you know, we really should hide this. You got this modern tower here. The last thing you really want is fish factory sharing its lovely aesthetic with you. Now we can hide the way it looks, but we can't hide the way it smells. I'm sorry, everyone. Yeah. So the other thing I want to do is I want to have a small little IT cluster over here. We don't have our district extended out this way, so we're going to do that. So let's take a look at our zoning. I think it would be nice to have a little IT cluster. Maybe there's a lot of kind of weird uses in this area consolidated next to one another. Let's hide them with huge towers. We'll have some preemptive zoning. We'll say that the city, it's got its eye on that transit facility. It doesn't really matter what the transit agency is thinking about it. The city's thinking about it too. I'm going to bring that all the way to the waterfront. I was reluctant to do so at first, but I'm less so now. It's fine. There we go. So along this collector, I do want to have some higher density commercial uses. The traffic there would be very conducive to these sorts of uses. And we'll have some office behind it. We already have high density residential right here. And this is, they're already developed there in a pattern where they're not using 4 tiles. So I'm going to sneak a path connection behind here because we might as well take advantage of that. And then back here, I would like to have some density transition now that I think about it. So what I'm going to do is add another district. So this district will once again have that height restriction. We'll continue with our high-tech housing and our modern city center, but we want to keep these densities a little bit lower down here. Now, I want to have a bit of commercial along the waterfront and a whole bunch of residential. And there might even be value in having some tourism uses here. Maybe I'll just do that, a block of tourism as well. I can actually get a little creative with that. I'll extend this over, bring it up a block, and I'll just add the tourism policy to Pearl Park. That should do the trick for us. I don't think we have any other commercial, just this. So we should be good there. So now we have a pretty significant commercial demand in this area. We're going to remedy most of that with higher densities along this corridor, along 19th. And I think we're going to upzone here as well. And here we'll transition. And I think we're going to have a couple of low density uses out here. We'll space those quite a bit. And now I believe that we're entering our park. It's not abnormal to see a couple of homes sneak their way into an area like that, and you just wonder, How did that person get so lucky? Well, that's how. They happened to buy it before they were told they couldn't. The nice thing about this is now I can eliminate these power lines that were going out here. They're kind of an eyesore. But they were absolutely necessary for a time. And that time is still now. Well, over time it'll get better. So one of the other things I want to think about a little bit, and this might be a trickier thing to work in, is Egg threw in a harbor a long time ago. Or a ferry stop. We don't have a ferry harbor anywhere. Or a ferry depot. But I would love a ferry stop or two along here. Although this is going to be a real challenge. So I'm gonna save that one. Only because I think that we're gonna interfere with our fishing vessels. Before we get there, well, I'm gonna place the asset. We'll plan that in the next one. I'm going to reestablish some sort of path connection here. So I think we're going to do that right here. Interestingly, I'm going from, I have a 3 meter elevation step. Take that to 1. We'll add that connection there. So I don't love the way that this looks. And the main reason for that is we're elevated. There we go. So we've ruined our path connection, but we can reestablish that right here, and we're good to go. We're good to go. So we will handle this in one of the upcoming builds. Right now, I'm not going to worry about it all that much. I do want to finish the rest of our zoning in this area. So like I mentioned, I want some residential along the waterfront. I want that to be the primary zoning that we have in this area, truthfully. And then again, we will have a little bit more, some offices, and then commercial down here. Let's speed this up and get this going. Now we're gonna need some more park space. We have a severe deficiency in that down here. So let's see if there's any that we can fill in here. So add a couple of small parks and a couple of dog parks, because those are parks that every developer can get behind. And every resident loves. Wow, there's some significant areas with a lack of park space. We don't want the new part of downtown to fill in and be that kind of area too. And I think we could also work on having some interesting pier type amenities out here. Actually, wondering. Must be placed in a park area or at a roadside. Okay, those pedestrian paths are roads, so I can do what I want to do. There we go, looking good. And I have all the anarchy on, which means that we have all of the trees coming through buildings. I can't stand when I forget this, because you end up with all of those trees poking through, and I could go through and remove all the trees or delete all the buildings. Neither of those are very desirable options, but it's what I've left myself with by making knucklehead moves. So, so I'm going to go through, and I want a whole bunch of residential in this area. We are going to shield some of these residents by having office behind here. And then we're going to cut this block length down with a path connection. Although the park does act as a path, I still like another path. And mostly residential through here. I think we'll add a little note of activity here. Places for people to grab a couple of things, and we'll sneak a few more through here as well. Let's not be lazy about it. We can liven things up, and as long as we don't have too much of this commercial, I'm hoping that it won't lead to issues. And let's let this fill in for a second. Okay, and I think we can take a look at some of what's happening here, and what a neat place. You'd be able to take a look, sit here, eat, look at the water, the ships come in. We've got some really neat tourism uses right along here, the bulky gold beach inn, hotel, whatever. And then we've got some of these high-tech industry buildings over here. They're huge, some of them anyway. But they do hide some of what's happening here, which I like. And I think it adds, you got to get a point of emphasis in the downtown now, and I want to use that when we are adding some of our unique buildings in the future. Really make this waterfront feel like it has a presence. And you're going to get a look of buildings that are turning a little bit, which is going to be kind of interesting, because right now it's kind of a wall of buildings, and the orientation doesn't change even when you come here. You're still following that grid. There's just one spot. The orientation changes. But even along the waterfront here, it comes back. So I think it adds a unique visual effect. I'm curious. Let's see how our new transit line is doing. It's brand new. Egg line is still beating it, but we're catching up. We're catching up. Let's see how optimized it is. We're doing okay. We don't have anyone being trapped, which is what I care about. And over here, doing the same. We're fine. So I think we're in a good location to end this today. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the notification bell if you want to know when I release new videos. Please consider subscribing to the rest of the builders. We're all doing really fun and unique things. Everyone in this series that's partaking in it and participating is awesome. I highly recommend each and every one of them. I also want to give a huge shout out to my Patreon supporters. You can see their names here. They help me create this content and support me and keep me going, and I appreciate them. And I want to thank you. Thank you for watching. Your likes, subscribes, and shares keep me going, keep the channel growing, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much, and stay tuned for a brief city tour. Bye-bye.